What is going on YouTube? It's your boy NevinTheBarber, and in today's YouTube video we're going to be going over a drop fade transformation cut. So to get right into today's video, I got my gamma outliners or my gamma hitters to carve in my first bald line, and you guys can see that I am dropping this in the back right as I carve it above my client's ear. And it's very important that you guys always drop your fade in the back if you're doing a low fade or a drop fade. So with this cutting technique that I'm going to be doing today, we're going to be taking off the bulk at the end of the cut. So first things first, we're just going to carve in our bald line on both sides. And whenever you guys do this, you want to make sure that you can get it nice and consistent as possible on both sides, just because this is going to ensure the foundation on how your fade lays out. So with this first step, you guys do want to make sure that you put in a lot of detail into it. And I am giving myself about ½ an inch of space just so I know where exactly my bald line is at within the cut. And again, with this cutting method, I do highly recommend it just because you won't find yourself struggling in the middle of the cut to knock out that bottom skin line. So if any of you guys want to give this technique a go, I do highly recommend it. So for our next step in this fade today, I'm going to be using my Gamma Alpha clippers with the lever all the way open. And this is cutting the hair down to a 0.5 length. And with this first guideline, I am bringing it up about an inch above our previous 00 line. And same thing with this line, we want to make sure that we keep it nice and consistent, just so our fade flows nice and smoothly along both sides. And after I have that guideline set, I'm just going to begin doing some lever play, closing the lever and shortening my cutting stroke as we go up and flick out that first line. And same thing on the other side, we're going to give ourselves about an inch of cutting room space. And I do have these clippers right here, 0 gapped. So if any of you guys don't know what a 0 gapped clipper is, basically it can just cut all the way down to the skin. So it makes the job of knocking out that initial bottom skin line 10 times easier. So if you haven't 0 gapped your clippers, I do highly recommend that you guys get your trimmers and your clippers 0 gapped. So now that we have that first section blended out on the bottom, we want to make sure that we flick it out completely before moving on to the next step. So now that that's done, we have our number 1 guard all the way open, and this is cutting the hair down to a 1.5 length. So as I always say, the fade does happen from the 1.5 down to the 0. So you guys want to make sure you put in as much detail from the 0 all the way up to the 1.5 guard, just because this is going to make your fade pop out the most. So now that we have our 1.5 carved in on both sides, we're going to start taking off the bulk. So with my 4 guard all the way open, we're going to flick up all the way past the parietal ridge, flicking up all the way through all sides of my client's head. And after we do that with the 4 guard, we're just going to do the same steps with the number 3 and the number 2 guard. And with the bigger guards, I don't really do too much lever play. I just start off with the lever open and then I'll close it all the way. So now that we are down, now that we've gone down our guards from the 4 all the way down to the 3 to the 2 to the 1.5, now we can just flick out that last middle section with our half guard. So the half guard is very important when it comes to blending out the cut, because this is really going to make or break the cut. So you guys want to make sure that you're very precise with your cutting stroke whenever using this guard right here. And I personally think that it's a lot easier just to do corner cutting while using the corner of my blade rather than using the full blade. And what this is going to do is just give the haircut a much more detailed look. You guys will be able to detail out those dark areas a little bit easier. So same thing on this side. You guys can see that I started with the 4 guard open, I closed it, I went down to the 3, went open, closed, same thing with the 2, open and closed, and now down to my 1.5 guard. Just polishing up the top of that blend. And now to get into the lineup, my client's hairline was pretty long. We did have to create a hairline for him. So I went ahead and parted off his hair and I hit it with the 1 guard with the grain. And whenever you guys do a lineup, it is very important that you keep it right there at the natural line. And same thing with the C cup, you guys want to make sure that you get a nice pop. So make sure that you keep it nice and natural, as well as being able to get that nice arch still carved in. And now I'll just apply some semi-permanent enhancement before I line up my client, just to give it that extra picture perfect pop. And enhancements are used just to enhance the cut. You guys don't want to apply too much, just to, you know, still leave it with that natural look. And whenever I use the straight razor, I always like to lean my client back just so I can hit their hairline up against the grain. And another thing to remember whenever you guys use the razor is just to always keep constant tension on the skin, just because this is going to make the razor glide a lot easier, and you won't find yourself struggling or tugging on the skin whenever you guys have enough tension while doing this. So now that we have our razor work done, I'll just begin trimming my client's hair, and then we'll just take off the bulk to complete the cut. So with this method that I'm using to trim the top of my client's hair, I'm starting off with a horizontal initial guideline, just so I can mark wherever my cut is going to be, and then I do vertical guidelines leading to the back just to match that first initial cut. And it's always important that you guys do use a traveling guideline whenever using the shears as well. Otherwise, the cut is going to look choppy on the top. So always be sure that you have that matching guideline before making the chop with the shears. And I am using my NevinTheBarber collection right here. Thing to also remember whenever trimming curly hair is that the hair is going to coil up after you guys wet it again, so it is going to look a lot shorter after your client showers. So just keep that in mind whenever trimming the top. And now for the fun part in this haircut today, we'll just begin taking off the bulk now. And like I said earlier, with this fading technique, it does make the job a lot easier when it comes to knocking out that bottom skin line, just because you guys can go down and take off all the bulk right away and you can see the whole blend come together. It's always important to go back and double check your work, just because 1, your client will appreciate the extra details you put in, but 2, it'll also increase your chances of retainment. So if you guys are trying to stay booked out and get as many clients as you can, it's very important that you put all those extra details in every haircut. So always be sure to go back and take at least another 5 minutes just to polish up and detail that blend. Now that we have all the bulk knocked off, I'll just be sure to go up and flick out any last dark areas right below the 00. And you guys can see that little by little this blend is coming together very nice. And if you guys have learned anything in this video so far, I do appreciate any feedback. So please be sure to hit that like button and drop a comment for the next video that you guys would like to see. And if you'd like to save some money on it, feel free to use my code NEVIN10 on any of your clippers that you guys purchase from them. They are my go-to favorite clippers right now, so big shout out to Gamma and Stylecraft for always coming through for me. And one last thing to polish up our blend today, we'll just begin doing some shear over comb. Again, using my NevinTheBarber collection. And you guys can see that it's little details like this that will really take your haircut to the next level. So I'll repeat it again. Always be sure to go back and put those final details in, because they do make all the difference when it comes to, like I said, retaining your client and just making your client feel like they got that picture perfect quality haircut. And whenever you guys are doing this shear over comb technique, it's very important that you roll that comb off at a 90-degree angle off of the parietal ridge. Or if you're doing it through the back, always be sure to roll it off the occipital bone. But as you guys can see, I got my client feeling himself. And that is about it for today's haircut tutorial. So if you guys enjoyed this video today, again, I do appreciate any feedback. So if you guys learned anything in this video, please be sure to hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Appreciate any of you guys who tuned in today. And that is about it. My name is NevinTheBarber, and I'm out. I'll see you guys in the next one.